All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is September 9th, so 9-9, and we have a 9-game MLB slate to dive into in today's video. So maybe that lucky number 9 is going to come up somewhere here today. But like we always do, when we go through each and every one of these games on the slate, I'm going to give you my lean on the side. I'm going to give you my lean on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, all of my final plays, if you do want to fade me and do the opposite, all of those plays are going to be listed in the pinned comment. For the second straight day, we pull out a 1 and 2 night. We got really comfortable with the Orioles and Braves parlay. That doesn't come through. The Phillies money line, yikes, like yikes. Oh, brother, this guy stinks. But the Diamondbacks team total does come through to avoid a reverse sweep there. And I love all the comments on yesterday's video being like, this video proves that this dude doesn't know what he's talking about. It's like, I mean, tell me you're new without telling me you're new. We've had a ridiculous MLB season. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time, yet somehow we've been crushing MLB. Yes, we've had a couple bad nights in a row. It happens. But you know what? Even though we've had such a good season and I can stand on a great season so far, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? Fuck Tua, get that stuff out of my mouth. So you know what? Let's try and have a good night tonight. The ride of the day continues to cash from my man, Hungry Hippopotamus here. He had the Guardians first inning under 3.5 batters to the plate for plus 140. And he takes the cha-ching. Jack Flaherty was that guy. He went 1, 2, 3, at least in the first inning there. This is 3 in a row now for Hungry Hippopotamus, all plus money plays. So shout out to Hungry Hippo there. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, it's simple. Just use hashtag ride of the day in the comments. I jump on board with one person's play in the comments. You get a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you do win, we continue to ride with your play for the next day. So excited to see what Hungry Hippo throws at us today. I'm sure it's another great banger. But get those hashtag ride of the days in, even though we're not selecting anyone new today, because those help out a lot of people, including me in the comments. There's so many down there that are really good looks and good spots and good ideas that I would never even think to bring up in the video or talk about in the video. So you dropping your hashtag ride of the day may help a bunch of other people out in the comments as well. So go ahead and do those. But what do you say we jump into today's slate? By the way, our Monday Night Football game is live. That video is live between the Jets and the 49ers, and the picks will be in there this morning. So go ahead and check that video out. We crushed week 1 of the NFL season so far, like to the point where I'm like, oh boy, I'm setting a high expectation because I don't think we'll always go 7-1 on Sundays and stuff like that. But nonetheless, that video is live. But let's get rocking and rolling here with this game. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're starting it off with the Braves and the Reds in this one. Charlie Morton on the mound going up against Nick Martinez. Cincinnati coming off of a win against the Mets. The Braves coming off of a win and a win of a series against Toronto. They take 2 of 3 there. They did pull out the 4-3 win. Chris Sale didn't have his best of games. Did allow, I think, actually, maybe, I don't even know if he did allow it. I think it was the bullpen, so he did pitch okay to kind of take that back. Overall, though, you look at the offenses of these two teams, and it's like, they're both middling, and what do I always tell you guys? There's opportunity to take the Reds when they have a pitcher that throws a ton of fastballs, and Charlie Morton's going to throw a ton of fastballs. He's pitching today for the Braves, like I mentioned, so there is an angle to get to the Reds here in my brain. I don't know if it's the best of. You have Cincinnati, who was 50-50 in the last 10 games here. They've won 5, they've lost 5. Atlanta's in the same boat. I think I am going to lean towards the Reds, but I don't know if my cojones are going to be big enough to pull the trigger on that one, just because the Braves are good, and Charlie Morton against this Reds team in the past has been really, really good. Or not the Reds team, the Reds roster. 33 plate appearances against, an average against of 200, a WOBA against of 243, an expected WOBA of 234, an expected batting average against of 213. So fading Charlie Morton against these Reds may not be the move, but it's not the biggest of sample size, 33 plate appearances, and like I said, I got to kind of stick to my guns here. Cincinnati can hit the fastball, and he throws a ton of fastballs, so I'm going to lean in that direction. I think I might like the over 8.5 more than that, though. Though these are two kind of middling offenses, like I mentioned, neither one of these pitchers is all that phenomenal, whether it's Charlie Morton at home or Nick Martinez here on the road. Now, I like Nick Martinez. I keep telling you guys I have like a weird soft spot for him for whatever reason. Like, I'm likely to lean towards him plenty, and I'm doing it again today. But him against the Braves, 2.7 ERA over his last 3, not all that, great, but what I really like is his career against the Braves roster. A 447 expected WOBA, an expected batting average against a 275, an expected slugging. So we could see some runs here coming from Atlanta. I just hope that my fastball take is enough for the Reds to also kind of contribute to the total and potentially even score more than the Braves. All right, Phillies taking on Tampa Bay. We had the Phillies the last couple nights, and they got crushed by Miami. Like, I don't know what's going on. 9-5, then 10-1. They did win game 1 and 2 of that series, so they split it. It's not like the end of the world, but still kind of crazy that they got smoked by them twice. Now you have Christopher Sanchez on the mound. He's been great at home this season, and Philly's been crushing lefties over the last 30 days. They're going to have a primary pitcher on the Tampa Bay side that is a lefty, Tyler Alexander. To start the game, I believe we're seeing someone else, Cole Seltzer, or something like that, but the primary pitcher listed is going to be Tyler Alexander. So all these numbers and this lean is kind of banked on the fact that, and based on the fact that the Phillies are facing a lefty as the primary. I like them in the first 5 run line minus the half of a run. Now, yes, they've kind of blown up in our face, but do we really think the Phillies lose 3 games in a row? Now they're at home, and those 3 games would be Miami, Tampa Bay when they're at home. Like, that doesn't seem like it's a great conclusion to me. So I'm going to lean towards the opposite of that happening, that the Phillies kind of pulled this out, but I'm not going to go full game with this one. Tampa Bay's got a decent bullpen. They've been kind of making some games happen and wins happen. Like, they took 2 of 3 against Baltimore. Give them a little bit of credit there. But this Phillies lineup against lefties in the last 30 days, number 1 in average at 315. WRC plus 138, good enough for the best in the bigs. Best on base percentage, best OPS, and best slugging percentage in the league last 30 days against lefties. So I like that spot there. You're going to get a fastball, a cutter, a sinker, a changeup, and a slider from Tyler Alexander, who is a lefty, and the Phillies hit those all fairly well, all top half of the league. So yeah, give me the Phillies first 5 run line as the main play here. If you guys want to consider maybe like a Phillies team total over, you can get that right now. For plus money for the first 5 at 2.5. I don't really love that, but you can get over 3.5 for minus 160 on ESPN. It's a hell of a lot of juice, but I could see the Phillies bouncing back and scoring, 4 runs today. So I don't even mind they're over 4.5 if you can get some plus money for that one as well. In terms of the total, I think that's kind of where I would go with it. Either a Phillies team total or nothing. Maybe a Tampa Bay team total under. Like, that's still something that could work for us. You could have done that yesterday, backing Corbin Burns. The Baltimore Orioles lose, but you still would have cashed the Tampa Bay team total under. You know what I mean? So I either go Phillies team total over or Tampa Bay team total under. Speaking of over and under, you don't have to worry about both of those. You just have to worry about one of those for this free square for Monday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers, 0.5 yards. I think it's safe to assume you can take the over. Let's pray for a healthy season from Rodgers. I'm a Patriots fan, not a Jets fan, but still, I think it's good for the league for him to kind of be able to be in there and making things happen. But yeah, guys, go check out Underdog Fantasy. That link is in the pinned comment. You're going to get up to $1,000 in deposit bonus if you deposit today, and you'll get this free Aaron Rodgers square. They have been doing so many promos to start the NFL season. I don't envision them even stopping for week number 2. What I like that they're doing is a cool thing where they're saying, okay, well, if you take a running back touchdown, right, and he gets vultured, aka the backup scores it, you get reimbursed, so it's kind of all square, right? You get reloaded, which is cool, but they're also doing these contingent plays. Like, if you score a touchdown prop today, we'll give you a free rushing yard square tomorrow and all that. So they're really making it cool for the customers right now, and it's a lot of fun. We cashed a bunch on Underdog this weekend just because we had a phenomenal NFL weekend, so, plays trickle over to there. But yeah, go take advantage of this Aaron Rodgers square, 0.5 yards for tonight's game against the 49ers. Good defense, but Rodgers should be able to get 1 yard there and cash the over. Again, you're going to get up to $1,000 in deposit bonuses as well. So go check out Underdog. That link is in the pinned comment. It's also in the description, but the pinned comment right with the play is probably the easiest place to find it. All right, let's jump back into these games here. All right, Pittsburgh, Miami, and this isn't a shot at the Pirates, but it's so funny that you can always tell just by the odds when Paul Skeens is pitching, because the Pirates aren't all that great, right? They're like 10 games below 500, but when they come in against anybody, I don't care if it's a bad team like the Marlins or anything, as minus 265 favorites, Paul Skeens is on the mound, right? Which is just funny because he is that good. Right now, I do still think Pittsburgh's probably the side here. You have Valente Beloso on the mound for the Marlins, who, yeah, he's looked good on the road, but nothing all that, crazy or tremendous. Like, I'm not jumping to my feet to try and back him. And Miami stinks at hitting the fastball, stinks at hitting the cutter. The slider, they're not that great at. These are all Paul Skeens pitches. So maybe there's some way, shape, or form that we can get Pittsburgh, or maybe look at, Miami's team total under, that type of thing, because this is probably a good spot for Paul Skeens overall, but I think the books have taken all the value away from anything that we can look at. Like, even Miami under 3.5 total runs, right? -174 is your best bet on FanDuel. So kind of yucky there. If you like them, under 2.5 and he really pitches a great game, sure. Their first 5 inning line is 1.5 for -160. So I think the value's been stripped from this one, but I don't mind the idea of Paul Skeens in this one. Maybe we look at his innings or something like that, because I don't think that this is a good spot for Miami to try and face him. Like, I think he could go out there and dominate. Meaning that we probably end up leaning towards an under as well. Maybe a first 5 under. Again, Belozo kind of has me shaking in my boots, but a first 5 under here may be a decent move, because that full game 7.5 I can get behind, but neither one of these bullpens is all that great. And like, say Belozo's pitching well, awesome. And then say Skeens is doing a normal Skeens outing, that's awesome. And then the bullpens come in, could possibly blow it, that would suck. So I think I might look at the first 5 under. Right now, 4.5 is -130, and that's almost like backing Paul Skeens, if you ask me, because I don't necessarily think this Pirates offense is going to go off. So taking a first 5 under, and if he just does his job, I don't think that, Pittsburgh's going to score enough to ruin this one. So that's how I'd play the total, and honestly, I'm probably talking myself into that play as the only potential final play here. All right, next up, Yankees taking on Kansas City. Carlos Rodon at home. It's always important for these Yankees pitchers to be at home, going up against Brady Singer in this one here. Carlos Rodon's been good at home, like I mentioned this year. 1.03 whip, batting average against of 196. His K rate's nearly 28%, and he throws a ton of fastballs here. In fact, we could jump into the dashboard to kind of explain it a little bit better. If you guys want access to this dashboard, I tell you guys most times, but I forget to mention it plenty because it's just a tool that I use, but I forget that you guys can have access. It's just $2.99 to become a channel member, and you get this link each and every day. It breaks down every game from a pitcher perspective, to the pitches that they throw, to the batting the last 30 days, the batting against those specific pitches. Really cool tool that's helped me cash this season and have a great season. And what I like is we literally built this from the ground up, so it's our tool, and we're only selling it for $2.99 a month. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's pretty crazy to me. It's like, what is that, 10 cents a day? I probably have that so wrong, but either way, like, fact that it's $2.99 a month, jump on this now, guys. Still gonna help you out throughout the playoffs and whatnot. But what I wanted to say here is Carlos Rodon, very good at home. You can see where the red, the green kind of jumps out, right? And you have him throwing a lot of fastballs, which Kansas City does not hit all that well. But the slider here is a little bit of a concern. You can see the slider they hit well, then the changeup they hit well. The thing that kind of puts us over the top for me and makes me lean towards the Yankees and back them even at this high price is the idea that, well, if we're gonna use pitch mix as that much of a weight, Brady Singer, slider and sinker, his main 2 pitches. The sinker, the number 1 pitch that the Yankees are hitting in the entire league, runs above average per 100 sinkers thrown this last 30 days. And then the slider, they are top 6 as well. And though we see them hitting well against the lefties from Kansas City, the Yankees are kind of right there with them. Now, they don't have the average numbers or the K rate, but their power numbers down here, OPS, ISO, slugging, even WRC plus, like, they're doing fairly well as well. So I think this is probably a spot where the Yankees make sense. Maybe a first 5 run line, because they are so juiced at -185. If you were to look at the Yankees right now and try and take them at a first 5 run line, you're getting decent odds, -120 versus that -185 or beyond. So that'd be a consideration. My only concern here would be that both of these teams, and I think it's the case, like, you don't exactly know what you're getting. Like, Kansas City has won 4 straight, and it's time to sound the alarms and parades, right? But that's their only 4 wins in their last 10 games. So it's like they went 6 in a row, loss, and then they pull up 4 straight. The Yankees are 4-6 in their last 10. So you have 2 teams that are usually reliable offenses. They're just kind of like, what's going on here? We don't really know, right? So I think this is still a spot for New York. They have the pitching advantage, the bullpen advantage, even though we might not touch those later innings. We might go first 5, as well as what I'd say a slight hitting advantage as well, especially being at home now. So I'll lean in that direction. I think it's fine to lean towards the over. I'm not sold on it. I don't love the under because you have 2 good offenses. That's kind of why I wiped that idea. But the over, like, one of these teams could have a good game today. They're both good offenses, and all of a sudden, we're looking at a spot in which one team carried a lot of the weight. Now we just rely on another good offense to maybe put in a couple. I think that that's the type of thing that could happen today. All right, Toronto taking on the Mets. Jumping right back into the dashboard here, you can see both of these pitchers struggle. Blackburn good against lefties, bad against righties. That's going to be tough. You have some great righties in this Toronto lineup. Kind of same thing, vice versa, though, for Toronto, even though it's not all much the same there. I like the fact that he's good against righties, but really, what catches your eye here? I built this to a level of color coding. Green means good, red is bad, orange and yellow, kind of meh, right? I jump right here. This offense last 30 days for Toronto, especially against right-handed pitchers, is nothing to tip your nose at. And you're getting a really, really good price for them today at near even odds. In fact, the best odds out there for Toronto on the money line is even odds over on DraftKings. Most other books, minus 102, minus 104, so they're all right there. This is a Toronto team that has not been consistent, and the Mets have been rolling. They're coming off of a loss, but now they travel to Toronto. I think it might be one good spot to try and back this offense here. I don't love them to win this series, but Chris Bassitt on the mound going up against Paul Blackburn, both of those pitchers, it's a toss-up what you're going to get out of them, right? Especially Paul Blackburn. So if you can toss a Toronto lineup that has been hitting the ball really well against righties as of late, then it's like this may be the shot that you can pull for Toronto. They've also won 3 straight against this Mets team, but that's dating back to last year. So yeah, I think that this is a spot for Toronto. I don't know if I'm going to pull the trigger on it myself because, again, we would be backing Chris Bassitt in this spot, and I don't like that idea, but maybe just Toronto team total over. Let's see if we can get that. It's probably 4.5 right now, which is a little bit too high. I'm not saying they're going to go out there and score 5 runs guaranteed, but actually over 3.5 for minus 140. It's kind of juicy, but Toronto team total over 3.5 honestly is probably the spot that I look at here in this one. I think that they can get to Paul Blackburn today, and then if we do that, we don't have to worry about Chris Bassitt pitching well, right? They can lose the game 7-4 for all we care, but they got theirs. They got that 4, so that may be the spot to look at. That's kind of how I'd play the total as well now that I look at it. So Toronto team total over is going to be my main spot in this one. Again, like you have a Paul Blackburn that stinks against righties. That's going to be Springer, Guerrero Jr., Kirk Clement. Not that those guys matter, but Springer and Guerrero, 2 of your top 3 bats there, looking pretty good. Yeah, I like the idea of that. But again, Bassitt stinks against lefties. Now we're talking about Lindor, Nimmo. I think that's probably only the 2 big names. So 2 top-of-the-line batters in each of the lineups are the favorable hand for the hitter. So we could see some runs here. I don't mind the full game over, but I think I might zero in on Toronto today. It kind of sounds like I'm talking myself into that one. All right, Red Sox taking on Baltimore. This is a weird one. The Red Sox are favored. It's because Cade Povich has been so bad. I mean, even using the dashboard again, $2.99 a month if you want this. I use it literally for every single game. A lot of the times when I'm breaking down these games, I have this up on my other screen. You can see how bad Cade Povich has been, especially on the road. But I don't necessarily look at Brian Bayo's numbers. Like, those aren't all that, sound like the green light lantern. But over here, it's like the Red Sox lineup just has not been phenomenal or anything like that, so I'm kind of weary of taking them against a team that I do believe is better than them. This is probably a spot in which I actually say, you know what, Cade Povich, maybe go do your thing. I like the fact that you're getting plus money for Baltimore, who is the better team, right? Cade Povich, 28 plate appearances against this current Red Sox roster, expected batting average against of 208, and expected WOBA of 238. Now, Brian Bayo's numbers aren't that bad against the Orioles, but again, aren't you getting the better team here? Unless I'm missing some injuries or something like that, but I see their pretty much their normal lineup listed to go. Unless you're getting a team in which is banged up with the Orioles, which I don't necessarily think you are, you're getting them for plus money. That seems like it's going to be the move today. And Brian Bayo stinks against lefties. Well, that's going to be Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman because he's a switch, Ryan O'Hearn, Santander, Kowser, Holiday, Mullins. All but 2 guys are going to be lefties today in the Baltimore lineup. Yeah, I might just send it and say, bet in, forget it, better team, plus money, let's see what you got. I know the Baltimore offense has been kind of shaky, but I think that might be the move today, fading my very own Boston Red Sox. The total sitting at 9.5. I don't think the Red Sox or the Orioles kind of go off today, but I do think the Orioles score more runs, so if anything, maybe I'd look at Red Sox team total under, Orioles team total over, but again, I think the one thing to do here is not overthink it and just bet Orioles. Now, that blew up in my face yesterday, and actually the day before too, right? The Orioles have lost us a couple games in a row, but you got to be able to get past the losses to move on to new ones. And Orioles at plus money, and this is at least a 50-50 game, so give me that plus sign. White Sox taking on Cleveland. Quick one here. You have Nick Nastrini on the mound going up against Joey Cantillo. I don't really like either one of these pitchers, nor the teams or the matchup. I like the Guardians, but not enough to really lay 225 or even go with the run line with them today. I think that's still minus 140, which is no bueno with me. So I'll lean Cleveland in some sort of a parlay, but nothing that I'm jumping on the edge of my seat here, which isn't even a saying. Imagine jumping on the edge of your seat. That just sounds like a broken ankle waiting to happen. But on the edge of my seat or jumping for joy trying to play. So this is probably a skip 'em type game. In terms of total, I'd lean towards the under because, again, you got the White Sox over there, and we can't always count on them to score some runs. Minnesota taking on the Angels. David Festa on the mound going up against Reed Detmers. I would think that, there's an angle for the Angels today. That's tough to say out loud. Angle for the Angels. But with Detmers on the mound, I just don't see it. And David Festa has kind of struggled at home, but he's been good enough at times. He throws a fastball, changeup, and slider. The fastball is his main pitch. He throws that 41% of the time, and the Angels stink at hitting the fastball. So that's kind of where I stop with this one. I'm going to lean towards Minnesota. The total sitting at 8. I'll also lean towards the under because I do think that the Angels struggled to score runs today. The only thing that would keep this under off the board, which probably is going to be the case, is the fact that, what if the Twins go out there and score 6 against Dietmers? He's not been that great. He is that bad. So this could be a spot in which I say, well, maybe we don't even consider the total just due to the fact that we have, a pitcher on the mound on one side that could let up a bunch of runs. So I probably don't touch that total. I'd still lean under because I think that the Angels struggled today, and I don't think Minnesota scores 8 themselves, but what if they did against Detmers? You know what I mean? So give me Minnesota on the money line. Only thing that I'd probably really look at here, or them on the first 5 run line or something if we wanted better odds. All right, Dodgers taking on the Cubs. That Cubs offense that was scoring football scores a week ago seems to have cooled down. Their last 6 games here, 0 runs. Now they do have a football score, 12. Not really a football score, but a high-scoring game in baseball. And then they go 0-0-2 against the Yankees. I know that wind was kind of meh there, but overall, I think this is indicative of the Cubs offense kind of slowing down. Now the Dodgers offense looking pretty good. They have Walker Buehler on the mound. They did have a couple low scoring games in the tail end of that Angels series, and I want to say the start of the Cleveland series, but here in this spot, I probably still think that they get to Kyle Hendricks. Not exactly the pitcher that I want to see against the Dodgers if I'm on the Cubs side of things. 117 let's speak of plate appearances against this Dodgers roster, only a K rate of 12%, a walk rate of 6%. All right, it's half of it, but an expected batting average against of 305, an expected WOBA of 366, and then an expected slugging of 500. So even if the Cubs go out there and score a lot against the Dodgers, I'll take the better offense in the Dodgers here. So minus 195, a little bit too pricey. You can get it for minus 185 on ESPN Bet. Still a little too pricey. Maybe this is a Dodgers team total over type of a play. And then I don't mind the over overall. Neither one of these pitchers I like, and maybe there is a little bit of resurgence from that Cubs offense. I think the Dodgers get their job done today with runs too, so I'll lean towards the over. But guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy. It was kind of a shorter one. If you made it to this point, go ahead and comment 22 down below. And I just want to say thank you for all the support. I don't think that we can stay this hot for the NFL or even the MLB. You know what I mean? The fact that we had 2 back-to-back losing days is an anomaly around here because we've been doing so well in the MLB, but it's so much more common for me in my lifetime as a sports bettor than you guys might think if you just joined up and subscribed a month ago. You know what I mean? So just know the bad days will come. We've been red hot. I can't imagine doing what we did in the NFL this week, next week. You know what I mean? We went 2-2, but had a huge touchdown score of plus 190 for Worthy. So we made money in Thursday Night Football. We go to that Friday Brazil game. We go 5-0 in that game. And then we go 7-1 in the Sunday slate yesterday. Huh? What are we doing here? So maybe Monday Night Football will snap us back to reality, but nonetheless, I just want you guys to know that I hope you appreciate the videos and the content and the information and the laughs and the entertainment just as much as the picks, because the picks won't always be red hot, but we're still going to make videos and still have a good time, still talk sports every day. So hopefully you guys get that. I saved that to the end of the video because I know the real ones are hearing it. So again, comment 22 if you made it this far in the video. I know we're past the 22-minute mark now, but nonetheless, I love you guys. Appreciate all of it. We're going to keep grinding, keep putting out videos. So appreciate that. And you know what? We'll keep doing it. So catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.